Folks, we know of 9, that is right, 9 upcoming banners that will be arriving in the near to very near future in Watch of Realms, with some of the strongest new heroes we've seen added to the game in a long time. And then, as you can see from Arrogance behind me, some absolutely top tier OG heroes as well. We actually have dates, expected, predicted, highly likely dates, thanks to the Leak Boys, for 7 of these 9 banners. I want to give some huge credit, huge thank yous to Alarl, who his server is the first way I learned about this. Then of course to Destined and the Leaker's Lair, and then all the Leak Boys, Oresis, Rokanchi, T, and Panther17. Guys, this is going to be so much fun to break down. Again, 9 different banners. For each one, I will give a very brief overview of that banner and then my personal take on it if you are interested. And yeah, I cannot wait to explain it to all of you. If you want other opinions, other ideas, definitely go check out Destin's video. I wanted to make sure I let him get the video out first, let it breathe for a while. Very much trying to be respectful of all the leak etiquette, and we're definitely going to do that moving forward. So guys, we have so much to break frickin' down. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Also guys, I do want to mention, I really want to make this video so you have all the information about upcoming banners in one place, because as I do Should You Summons videos for this weekend included on the 15x Ancient Raid Up for Soul Cadence and Eunomia, and all future weekends covering many of these banners in further detail, you need to kind of have a complete picture of what's going on and what's coming so you can make fully informed decisions on if you should summon depending on your specific account. The best way to do that is to specifically know what is coming. So again, huge thank you to Leak Boys, thank you to Laurel. Let's get into it. First up, we have got, in just a week from today, you'll always see the expected date over here above my head. You can see I'm writing it American style, month and date. My apologies to my international viewers. On September the 13th, and again, caveat, all these dates that you're going to see for the 7 of 9 banners that do have expected dates, they are all just very strong, informed predictions. None of these things are set in stone. But if this is true, on September the 13th, a week from today, that Friday, we will get a 15x for rare summons and legendary divine summons on the character Tallulah, and of course, Arrogance. Let's start with Arrogance because he very much is the big ticket item on this banner. Not to downplay Tallulah too much, but Arrogance, as we've gotten new, harder, more endgame content added to the game, he has only grown in my estimation, and I think the estimation of the player base as a whole. The guy is an absolute tour de force. He's the best fighter in the game. Full stop, he is absolutely crazy. He scales extremely well, especially if you can get that bond skill with Lust, plus 15% post-deployment attack during his ultimate, which is when the big damage definitely comes. I do not see this guy getting power crept anytime soon. He really is a must-have unit for almost every single player in the game. Quite frankly, in my opinion, every single player in the game. So if you do not have him, this is the time to summon. If you do not have a couple awakenings in him, this is the time to summon. Now, Tallulah. Tallulah is certainly not the Eluin 2.0 we had all hoped, but that is not to say she is bad at all. She is a very solid support, specifically in PvP, and then for PvE content, namely Guild Boss 2, especially if there's another healer there to help. She is a very strong support with very strong cleansing, and she's a decent healer. Her specific heals that her and her butterflies give off are not so potent, but if you have additional healing and you can keep those butterflies cycling, you can get very consistent cleanses, and you can get consistent, though be it brief, uptime on the damage reductions and the rage regeneration. I think overall, the butterflies, the RNG, it really, really downplays her in all aspects except one thing specifically, and that is PvP. You can control that there's only so many people taking damage at once in Arena or GVG, so there's going to be a very high uptime on her butterflies being where you want them to be, which means a very high uptime on her rage regeneration and her damage reductions. That makes her super duper strong. So if you like PvP stuff, if you're very like endgame and you want to focus GVG, she's a great hero for you, especially if you want to be totally optimized and try to get her A3. Obviously her banner's a great time to do that. At A3, when her butterflies are landed on an ally, instead of being 1% rage per second, it is 2% rage per second. That is absolutely significant. So yes, she is not as good as we thought, but she's still going to be very, very viable for a lot of accounts in PvP. And then if you don't have an Eluin or you need extra cleansing in Guild Boss 2, she's excellent. Next banner now, we have got a week later on September the 20th, a 15x limited 250 guaranteed banner for Kigiri. I actually had to cut because I called him Kirigi. That's a mistake I keep making. It is Kigiri, G before R. And this guy, what a monster. Crazy fighter with a Vortex Faircy hollow range that can also hit forward and then hit back as he returns to his initial starting point. We're all guaranteed to get him. If you can get 250 summons worth of rare summoning crystals and diamonds together to get that guarantee. And this guy is one of our best limited heroes ever. He could end up being our best. I don't even know. He hits so supremely hard. He can do some shredding damage that ignores defense. He actually is our second Dispel hero after Lucius. He can really keep that whole Aegis phase free from the buffs, certainly after the patch to fix Semra, whenever that will come. It's a must-have hero if you can afford to do the 250 summons and go for him. Remember, it's also just a normal 15x, so you still have a shot to get him even if you don't have the 250. This guy also has a very, very interesting dual faction membership in both Nightmare, super typical for a fighter, but then Watcher, very rare. I'm pretty sure it's just like Cyrene, Ein, and Dallin. So he is obviously the strongest fighter in Watcher by a mile. This guy is going to be really, really strong. He seems like the kind of hero that won't get power crept either. Very confusing, but very unique kit. There's parrying involved with a counter attack, but he hits super duper hard. He ignores defense. He dispels buffs. He can place bleed very consistently. Extremely strong hero. We should all be very, very, very excited about him. I'll be pulling for him. I think all of you should be too. And what a weekend this one is going to be, because as they tend to always do now, when we get a 15x limited 250 banner, it is getting paired with a 2x by 15x. And this one is absolutely juicy. Very bizarre thing. So we have a new hero, Bubba, aka Beelzebub, aka Beelzebub, whatever you want to call him. I'm calling him Bubba. It's too cute of a nickname not to. Total OP unit, borderline triple S. We'll see once we get some global in-game testing with him. I'm going to pull hard on this banner. Fantastic hero, going to replace Dolores, maybe not in all content, but certainly in a lot of it, at least on my account. And he's paired with Lucius, who's only getting stronger. When the Semra fix comes, the Semra patch, he's going to get even stronger. He hits exceptionally hard, and his support capabilities only go up, up, up with Awakenings. Getting an A3 Lucius is such a powerful thing, keeping a damage reduction on your enemies, on your bosses, putting out stuns. Crazy, crazy thing. And then we've got Razak, which transitions me into the weird part of this banner. 2x by 15x's ago was Zealot 2 Hex and Razak. So they're rerunning Razak again on a 2x by 15x, which, by the way, this will be for rare summoning crystals and legendary divine summoning crystals. And then Lucius, obviously, when he was introduced to the game, was on a 2x by 15x with Ares, with Boreas, and then him. So we're getting two rerun 2x by 15x heroes that we had within the past 2 times that's arrived, and then obviously a new super OP hero in Bubba. Many, many people should go for this banner, but I do want to explain that, like, a lot of big spenders, big pullers, content creators, whatever, people that really rip on these 2x by 15x banners are going to come out of this with like A6, A7, A20 Razak. No offense, Bambi. It's crazy stuff, right? Like, why are they rerunning Razak again? I get not all the heroes should be like super OP desirable, but why is he instantly getting a rerun? Me personally, I do not know. A week later, this one's very simple. On September the 27th, for your rare summoning crystals, we are getting a 1+1. This can only be triggered once, but when you pull your first legendary, they're coming with a friend. An additional legendary, a very desirable banner, especially for newer accounts, people trying to fill out that roster. A lot of people are going to pull on this. It will be a lot of fun. Now, moving into our final non-ancient banner, and then we're going to finish this thing off with 3 ancient banners. We have got, on October the 14th, a 15x rate up for rare summoning crystals and legendary summoning crystals for Xena and Brokir. Very interesting banner, guys. So Brokir obviously literally just had a rerun rate up, 3rd time they've done it. Brokir and Valeria. I think a lot of people probably have him. He is a common bucket legendary, easy to get. That being said, aside from Cyrus, for what it's worth, in my opinion, definitively the best tank in the game. Also a tank that has very strong awakenings, so you don't mind pulling dupes of him. So if you're not yet at A5 or close to A5, you do not have to worry about pulling him extra. It will still be a good thing on this banner, specifically if you want to pull for Xena. I would not go out of your way unless it's a new account to pull for Brokir, but Xena, holy guacamole, oh my god. I need to do more testing with her. I've just started testing her out on the test server. Definitely go watch Destin's video. That got me sufficiently hyped and got me testing myself. Even before that, I had read through her kit with Ronaldo and she is like going to be a burst goddess. She's an infernal fighter, magic damage, crazy AoE, but if there are less targets, becomes crazy single target, and she's a cycling hero. So she's much stronger on initial deployments. So when you first put her out, those first X number of seconds, I think for her it's between 25 and 30 with her different passives and talents. She is so supremely strong for that. She's going to be so key for anything where you cycle your heroes in and out. So Gear Raid 5, aka Gear Dungeon number 2, Guild Boss 1, if you're doing a Laurel comp or you always have to have 1 or 2 extra DPSs, you're cycling in and out. She is fantastic. So this is a banner I'll pull on if I have stuff fairly lightly, I think. I'm not going to go so out of my way, but it is very exciting because Xena is very, very cool. I actually misspoke. We have one more banner before the Ancients. Let's actually skip ahead to that. You'll see very quickly, and we'll come back to this. On October the 5th, we are getting Gon and Sargok. Let's return to that in a moment. On October the 11th, this is the final non-ancient banner we have to break down. We're getting a really interesting one, very strange. Crowdor and Allura. You guys know how I feel about Allura if you've been watching my account for any amount of time, watching my channel. Not a fan. The damage is very bad, even if you have her A1 and you can turn that crit rate into crit damage. The multipliers on her kit are super weak. She is getting a little better because we're getting better Piercer Lords and obviously a huge glow up in the buffing to the Watcher Lords, but just her multipliers are, they're not even mid, they're bad. They're just straight up bad. You can find viability for her specifically on the right side in Gear Raid 3, but it's really 319. You can make her work in 320 and 321, but if you can get a build strong enough, I swear to you on this, if you can get a build strong enough to make her work on 320 or 321, you could have done it without her. You could have just used Brienne, who it's way harder, or you could have just made your Idril strong enough to take care of it yourself. That really is how Allura goes. She really isn't good, in my opinion. I have her A4. I wish I had her 0. She is absolute trash. Now, the interesting part of this banner, and again, this banner is a raid up on rare summons and legendary summons, is that we're getting Crowdor. So Crowdor was a completely limited, they said would not be available from summoning, fusion, and not a shard summoning event, a traditional fusion. We got copies of, oh my god, what's his name? We got copies of Gagron or Gorgon, I cannot remember how to say it. Those fused into Draga, and then Draga fused into Crowdor. So that is how you got him, and they said, for at least for a while, it was pretty clear that he was not going to be available for summoning. At this point, it's coming up on like half a year since his event, I guess, 4 or 5 or 6 months. So they decided to put him on a banner. If you didn't get him, and you care about Codex, he is a god in tank Codex. He is absolutely meta. He is on every top team. He gets really block Codex, and he, with a Bastion Ring and his ult active, you're talking 6 block, second highest in the entire game, besides Gon. Extremely, extremely strong. So for that, he's really good. Otherwise, he's just an extremely solid tank. And as nice as that is, to be a tank without like crazy support like Constance or totally elite like Broke here, I don't think you can go for him. He's awesome, but I just think unless you're very invested in Codex, this is the hardest skip banner of all time. It really is, or at least of very recent memory. Let's get into the Ancients now, going back in time 6 days to October the 5th. We've got Gon and Sargok. Gon is fantastic. I would rate him the 7th best legendary lord in the game, which might not sound that high, but we have so many of them now that I think that's a significant rating. It is super hard to get your chaotic lords since there is no normal version. You can only get them ancient exclusive. He's really, really strong. He's better than Valderon in certain content. Valderon overall, specifically as a hero, his own kit, he's just way stronger. So I feel like people are like, I don't want Gon, I want the absolute best thing. But I don't think you should be discouraged. Even if you had Valderon, if you got Gon too, there'd be content where you'd use Gon over Valderon. Super duper strong, really, really good Lord skill. And then he's with Sargok, who if you care about PvP, Sargok is a must-have endgame, fantastic in anti-air, quite good, quite dang good in single target as well. And then goated if you've got the right comp for Guild Wars. It's a very cool banner. I think it's going to be a skip for a lot of people, myself included, but for a certain kind of player, extremely hyped. Now, the 2 banners we do not have specific dates for, but are in the file and seem very likely to come. This is the more likely of the 2, and it is a rerun on the Yovar Carnelian banner. So this is a banner that I very likely could pull on, and it's nice that this banner seems to be far out in the future, because by then, hopefully, we know more about the ancient exclusive Nightmare Lord whenever he, she, or they may come, right? I hope we have some more complete information in that respect by then from Destin and the League Boys and Alarl and everyone. But as it stands now, for me, after Ardia, Carnelian is the 2nd best ancient exclusive non-Lord hero in the entire game. I personally don't have a single copy, so I'd be so thrilled to get it. And then Yovar is completely goated. Triple S legendary lord, probably would rank him about 4th or 5th right now. Just completely fantastic. An opportunity to go for these guys, and like worst case you build, well, I guess worst case you reset your pity with King Hearts. But if you don't reset your pity and you just build a little, maybe you pick up our Carnelian, what a crazy banner it really could be. It's pretty darn likely, unless we get a ton more news, this is a banner I might absolutely unload on. I'd expect it'll be sometime in the middle of October, but completely TBD for now. Who knows? They might squeeze it in the much nearer future. We really can't say. And then a banner that's going to come with the most caveats, but also is pretty crazy in terms of being both bait and being super overpowered. We have Demi, who, as amazing as she is in Gear Raid 4, aka Gear Dungeon 1, probably the best hero in the game for that. She's probably the second weakest Ancient exclusive legendary lord after, of course, Anthony Matos, after, of course, Elder. But then we have maybe the best hero in the game. It's Praetus or Ingrid. I think for a lot of content at this point, it just is Ingrid. It really depends on your account. Completely goated hero. And then, let's be honest, disappointing legendary lord to reset your pity on. It's an interesting pairing. As it stands now, it's not even confirmed if this banner will be on Global or Forerunner. The League boys can't say for sure, but it is guaranteed that it is coming. I mean, whenever they make artwork this nice, you know it's coming soon. Of course, I did a little photo editing to make it look cooler, in my opinion. But you can see, really desirable banner. Ingrid, top 1 or 2 hero in the entire game, decided triple S. Demi, still super duper good, and it seems like a cultist meta is evolving with people like Bubba, with Zaris, with a lot more summoning stuff happening, so she could become key. But as it stands, this is a real risk it for the biscuit banner, because it's going to be like a coin toss. First, you got to hit one of the raid ups, and then from there, it's a coin toss. Is it Ingrid and your whole account just changed, even if you already had her because her awakenings are so strong? Or is it Demi, and it's probably a pretty big bummer? Guys, those are our banners. You can tell I'm flipping excited. One big thank you to Destin, the League boys, Alarl. Amazing stuff. I hope you like the artwork. I spent way too long on it. This is a lot of fun to make. I really like doing these kind of videos. If you like them, definitely do let me know. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, let me know what you think in the comments, share with your mother. I've been Fastidious, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.